Hello everyone and welcome back to another buy-side briefing where we try to get inside the head of the buy-side as well, and I'm very pleased to be joined today by Mitul Shah, the Industrials Portfolio Manager at Corbett's Capital. So firstly, welcome Mitul.
Thank you, good to be here and appreciate your time.
Excellent. To start with, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your background and what brought you to Corbett's as well?
Sure, I've been in the business for over 20 years. I started at Goldman on the south side, and I've been investing for a little bit over 15 years. I joined Corbett's because I was looking to put myself in that situation where I would have the most success from an investment perspective. And I think what this organization brings is it brings important pillars. One, it has the resources that investment professionals need today. Two, it has that long-short equity focus that I want to be part of. And then three, I think what is critical is actually being in an environment, in a firm that really pushes forward collaboration. I think there's a lot of advantages in terms of having a focus on long-short equity, but yet collaborating with other investment professionals that look at other assets like commodity markets or FX, broader macro and credit, and that's what Corbett's brings to me.
And just to get into this, because we want to provide a little bit of advice for everyone that's listening at home. There tends to be a natural tendency for investor relations officers and their managements to favour meeting with long-onlys over hedge funds. So given the difference in investment styles, can you sort of tell us a little bit about how you think about corporate access?
Sure. Look, corporate access is critical to our investment process. We do deep research, and developing and maintaining that relationship with the companies that we cover is critical to our understanding. Our investment process is really driven by trying to connect the stories of a company with the data of a company, and we do extensive research that brings our knowledge, to be as strong as we possibly can. Our job is to combine the stories and the data, have it drive our analysis and the numbers, which then really informs our risk reward and our valuation work. It's a process that we continue to refine, and corporate access plays a major role in our understanding of these stories and numbers.
Okay, so part of the investor relations role is to bring information from the capital markets, from the buy side, and add it into management. So thinking about that, how do you think hedge funds can add to the conversation, and what do hedge funds bring to the table?
I'm biased. I've been in the industry for 20 years, but what I would say is that hedge funds do very good quality work. We put a lot of resources into our team, from training to honing our investment process. We pay attention to compliance. This investment really it pays off in terms of how we analyze companies and stocks, and we would bring a more balanced approach to the narrative of a stock, of an industry, that I think helps investor relations and how they communicate with their senior managers.
Fantastic. And one other point, when investor relations officers are preparing their target lists, they'll look at their current holders, they might look at the 13F or look at turnover rates. And I'd be really interested to hear your perspective on what is the incentive for investor relations professionals, their management teams, to meet with hedge funds when perhaps you don't meet that sort of immediate criteria around turnover rates and that kind of stuff? It'd be great to hear your thoughts.
A great question. I think hedge fund investors over the years have shown that they do quality work, and that we put in the time and effort to learn our companies, learn the industries. We approach investing with a very professional attitude, and we're not afraid to provide that balanced view that any management team should hear. And I think that's important for any investor relations and any management team to have that balanced perspective. It will only strengthen their own communication when they speak with other investors. In addition, hedge fund investors are a growing part of the investment community in terms of AUM, and that should matter as well.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great point. And I do kind of want to address the elephant that's in the room at the moment. So, we've got to be upfront and say hedge funds short stocks. And sometimes that can make management teams, it can make investor relations professionals a little bit wary. So I'd be really interested in getting your thoughts on, why it's beneficial to meet with those investors that do short stocks.
Sure. First of all, shorting a stock is not a reflection on the quality of the company or the management team, and I think that has to be understood and appreciated. For many hedge funds, shorting stocks is part of our investment strategy, and many times that can actually lead us to be the incremental buyer of a stock, and that's important to recognize as well. In my experience, the best way a management team can address any type of views that are short based is to actually invite that investor to the table and rebut each point to some degree in a very respectful manner, and I think that only strengthens the long case for a company.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic. And Mittal, you've been in the game a long time. You're a very experienced portfolio manager that's interacted with investor relations officers many times. So I am curious to get your perspective on the role of an investor relations officer. So how do you view IR?
How do I view IR? Pivotal to our process, they are linked to the company. The better they are in terms of communicating with investors, in my opinion, that consistency is critical to how their stock will act in terms of sometimes even volatility. The more consistent an IR's message is, sometimes I think in an ideal world, the lower the volatility of that stock. So I think the IR role and my relationship, our relationship, any investment professional's relationship is critical.
Absolutely. And to try and provide some advice to investor relations officers that might be meeting with yourself or other hedge funds, I really want to get a sense of what you view as being the characteristics or the qualities that make a really, really excellent investor relations professional.
The ones that are really knowledgeable of not only their company, but their industries, and are constantly learning about what their competitors and the trends and the technology, where that's moving. That level of expertise really creates great debates for us, because those are the type of questions that we will come to investor relations with to better understand.
Absolutely. No, and just to pick up on that theme that you mentioned around being a good listener, I think that really touches on a lot of the points that you mentioned in terms of using the opportunity to meet with hedge funds as a chance to enhance your knowledge, get some intelligence out of the capital markets that you can feed back to management, which is great. We've heard a lot from you today about the benefits of engaging with hedge funds. It's been really enlightening to understand what you bring to the table. But I do want to get some advice for you. So in summary, can you provide us with one lasting piece of advice about how investor relations professionals can better engage with hedge funds?
Sure. If I had to say one thing to investor relations is, one, I would be very open-minded to meeting with hedge fund investors. I would watch and listen carefully to those investors that show that they've done the work and that they want to create that two-way dialogue with you. At the end of the day, that will be beneficial to your understanding of the debates of a stock, and it will help improve the balance of your communication and how you actually interact with the rest of your team. So I would really say have an open mind when you're speaking with investors, particularly a hedge fund investor, and be willing to listen and engage the ones that do the work.
Absolutely, no, that's fantastic, and I love that point around engage and be open-minded with the debate around the stock as well. That sounds great. Mitul, it's been fantastic. I know that you're a busy person, but yeah, really interesting to hear your insights, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate the time. Pleasure to meet you as well.